Alright, let's talk about furry bait. What it means, how it applies to your favorite animal character, how it's grown in the past however many years, and some of the problems that some folks are finding with it. Which may be rightfully so, but that'll be up to you to decide. This is just a whole philosophy of the furry bait idea video, because apparently I haven't driven the point home enough with the amount of videos I've done on furry bait characters. Look, I'm a weirdo, but you already knew that, and you knew what you were signing yourself up for by clicking on this video, so...
Pee pee ha ha, pee pee ha ha, pee pee ha ha, pee pee ha ha.
We all love furry bait, some new character releases in some franchise or some skin in a video game that screams furry. Whether it's just a simple anthropomorphic animal character or an anthropomorphic animal character with extra steps. And that could be attracting them as in they think they're neat, or you could be on the other end of it where it attracts furries as in that character is hot and the search results for that character on E621 skyrocket. There's pretty much one every other week at this point, and if you're on furry social media like I am, it's pretty much as frequent as every day. And furries fall in love with them immediately, for whatever reason it might be. I mean, hey, I'm one to say, like, I love Deathwolf. He's always looking at me quite voraciously. The simple definition of furry bait is that it's a character, predominantly some animal, fictional character in media, that attracts furries in some way, shape, or form. Even if the character isn't intended to be for furries, it's still something that furries love. But the criteria for which what qualifies as furry bait or not depends on who you ask. Best example I can think of is Pokemon. As much as Pokemon aren't animals, we definitely associate them as such, and so, for a lot of people, many Pokemon qualify as furry bait characters. Whether they make furries really like them or really like them, it just depends on who you ask and what their reasoning is. It could be simply because it looks like an animal character, and because it could be some gateway into furry, or some character that furries would enjoy because it has some association to anthropomorphic animals. It's kind of funny because I didn't originally think to do this video till I actually saw a meme posted on Furry IRL that highlighted all the top searched characters each year on E621. And also, you know, don't go looking any of this stuff up. E621 is 18+ website, adults only, that's got the furry, I'm not gonna say the word because I like being monetized. I went over it in one of my videos on the Boodles channel, and I was kind of disappointed to see like Spike from My Little Pony and Tails from Sonic the Hedgehog on there. But what was really funny to see on both of these lists was that Nick Wilde and Judy Hopps had at least a 5-year streak from the point of their movie releasing, Zootopia, to the point of whatever next new furry bait character released. And believe it or not, Zootopia was how I was introduced to furry. Not because furries are mentioned in the movie, but because the concept of anthropomorphic animal characters piqued my interest, and so I learned that furries existed after that. Or to put it in simpler terms, I was flamed by my friends for going to see Zootopia with my mom, and I was called a filthy furry because of it. But it was interesting to see that Zootopia, and like the main characters in it, had kind of this effect. Not that it was intended by any means by Disney or, you know, the respective creators of Zootopia, but just that it happened naturally, and furries fell in love with these characters for however long. Even to this day, some people still love Nick Wilde and Judy Hopps. And you can see even through, you know, the years that in like 2022 with the Sonic movie happening, you know, Sonic became a high search result. And then, you know, in 2023 with Puss in Boots 2, Deathwolf became the most posted male character on E621 in 2023. But in terms of the concept of furry bait, I feel like there's some level to it, or I guess how furry bait a character can be. And I know this criteria kind of ranges from person to person. If you were to ask any furry or any regular person what the most furry bait character is, you get a lot of common answers, but some rather different answers. Like say with Von Lycaon from Zenless Zone Zero. There were plenty of non-furries and normies that loved Von Lycaon, while there were also a lot of furries that really liked him too. And this doesn't even go for, you know, anthropomorphic animal characters. This can go for like mascots too. Look, I like Leo the Lion from that baseball team, and I think he's aware that people like him the way that they do. I feel like a good example to kind of understand a little bit of this is especially in the case of Pokemon. I know I keep, you know, bringing up that example. We've seen it where completely non-furry bait characters are very popular within furry media, like Gardevoir, for example. I feel like that's more of a human Pokemon than it is, you know, related to furries. But I've seen plenty of furry pieces or furries in general that really like this character. But it shouldn't make much sense, you know? It doesn't have fur on the character, you know, it just because it walks on 2 legs and might be related to an animal franchise doesn't mean that it's furry. Well, to some, they may see it that way. It realistically just comes down to perspective and who likes which character for what. I actually remember watching this breakdown video a while back by TrueGreen7, where he went over Pokemon that were furry bait and weren't, and sort of put together this criteria to break down which ones were and which ones weren't, and kind of brought into mind a lot of what I'm discussing here. So if you want to go and check out that video, I'm going to leave it in the description below. I feel like it's grown so much so to the point where just anthropomorphic animal characters are in media many times in general, whether they're for furries or not. Whenever there's a new popular furry bait character, whether it's non-furries that like the character or furries that just end up blowing up this character into popularity by making all sorts of art pieces and in turn spreading this character more and more, and that might lead you into the furry community. Like I said, it only takes one little thing that you might like that has some relevance to furry that might make the infection spread, and oh hey, you're a furry now, look at that, congrats. Now, despite this concept of furry bait becoming more frequent with more and more anthropomorphic animal characters being released in whatever piece of media, some furries kind of see this as a bad thing. And this brings into concept the idea of the corporatization of furry, which is a topic I have yet to discuss on here, but I've kind of alluded to a few different times. It's pretty much this idea that because the furry community is kind of self-sustaining in its own little economy, in its own little community, especially in the artistic sense, there's this very real worry that there might be bad actors or companies who see this as untapped market and try to swoosh their way in either as bad actors or try to pander to them in hopes to make money from them. And this may or may not be true, but I like to think of this as more like a conspiracy theorist idea, because realistically, you can't really pinpoint the intentions of characters being made or brought to life for whatever reason. You might think, oh, they're trying to pander to furries, and some may be more recognizable than others. However, I hate to break it to a lot of you, I don't think a lot of businesses are really hoping to tap into the furry market, especially when it comes to, you know, whatever character they're creating. Maybe it might be the case for skins in video games per se, but I don't think they're really hoping to get into the furry market with regards to releasing one hot wolf character in a gacha game. I feel like in general, it's not targeted towards furries, but just more targeted towards people in general. Because think about it this way, if you have like two plumbing companies, and asking this from a general person standpoint outside of furry, both of them have the same name, but two different mascots. The one on the right has a person, just regular person, regular Joe Schmo. The other has like a white lion in like plumber attire. Which one are you going to remember more highly? That's right, the lion in the plumber attire. It's just that easy because, oh hey, it's a lion character. And if you add some other little things to it, like, oh, he's got like blue hair. Oh, he's got, you know, blue eyes. He's a blue wolf. He's not a lion actually. He's a blue wolf because blue wolves and furry are everywhere. But like, I feel like it's easier to recognize animal characters, especially cartoon animal characters, associated with some name, franchise, company, business, compared to normal human character. But the point is, at least right now, I don't think there's a lot of things really trying to pander to furry, at least in the realm of furry bait characters. Because if it was, then DreamWorks would have definitely made that Death Wolf body pillow, and you know sure as hell, DreamWorks did not make that. Did they make him in hopes that furries would love this character? Who knows? Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. But you can't really read intention from that because at the end of the day, a business is a business and they make characters to sell tickets or whatever it might be. I think of the corporatization of furry as more like trying to degrade the quality that already exists in the community by trying to create a lot more mass-produced crap. And in reality, furry isn't something that's really mass-producible. I mean, maybe they can, you know, to an artist, you know, churning out ref sheets or fursuit makers churning out fursuits, but in the end, it's not something necessarily that can be mass-produced for the sake of profit compared to the quality of something that you're making. You have to keep in mind that anthropomorphic animal characters are a concept long since before furries existed, and long since the idea that furry bait existed. Just because something is furry bait doesn't mean that it is supposed to be pandering to furries, or doesn't mean that it was made for furries. More often than not, furry bait characters aren't made for furries to begin with. I was really curious to see what people's opinions were on, I guess, government-placed furry bait characters, the intention of just trying to pander, not looking to make like a quality, I guess, anthro character for whatever it might be. And I got a wide range of answers, most of which are like characters that I feel like don't try to pander at all to furries and just try to market to people in general. I saw a lot of people saying two characters in particular. The first one being Von Lycaon from Zenless Zone Zero, and the second one being that pink lizard thing from Pal World, which, yeah. I mean, the PAL deck entry reads, seeking a night of love, it is always chasing someone around. At first, it only showed interest in other pals, but in recent years, even humans have become the target of its debauchery. I'm gonna be honest, guys, as much as these characters might be furry bait, and it might seem like cheap attempts at trying to get sales from the furry community, I don't think their target audience in this case is the furry community. Furries enjoying these characters is just kind of an added bonus that I don't think many really think about when they're designing these characters. It might just so happen that the character they make does attract furries. But the bottom line with regards to furry bait is it's everywhere. It's gonna keep going because the existence of anthropomorphic animal characters has existed and will continue to exist. It's something that many different people outside of furry have taken inspiration from and use in whatever creative endeavor that they'd like, and it just so happens that it checks off all the boxes for what furries like too. I don't think it's a threat to furry. If anything, it helps inspire some creativity from a non-furry perspective into furry. It helps differentiate between different aspects in the furry community, and it's something that we can all enjoy. But either way, that's pretty much what a furry bait character is and the discussion that I've had thus far about it. So on that note, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, be sure to let me know in the comments below. I greatly appreciate all the feedback and support. I love having open discussions about ideas like this. I kind of just wrote down like a page of notes and just rambled on for an hour and a half. So if you like these videos, let me know. But either way, that's about gonna do it for me. Have a wonderful night, take care, life stay jacket, treat people like people, and that's about it. Look, he's happy now.